Hey, what up? I don't know how kids do that these days, but here comes another video. Honestly speaking, I'm not very much happy. I'm not very much excited about this video, but I would like to share with you the books that I did not finish, the books that I threw away out the window, the books that I decided to just drop and not to be with again my whole life. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm sure I will be picking up some of these books, but most of this I started with an audiobook. So if you know me, I am not very much fond of audiobooks. I don't really understand what I hear in audiobooks because sometimes I want to do something like with my hands, with my eyes, and my attention, my ears attention is not very much that good when I am doing something else. So because I force myself to read an audiobook or to listen to an audiobook because I do a lot of things in my life, in my day-to-day life, and I want to be more productive than I already am. But it's not very much productive because especially for those books that you want to use your brain to understand and to fully interact with the characters, with what's happening, with the plot, it just doesn't work for me. Anyways, I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Really, wait lang. Oh my, ang dami pala. I was about to say onti lang, but apparently I have 10 books that I DNF'd last year, and I hope you guys could tell me if I should pick it up again or not. Don't waste my time anymore with these books, or just give it a second chance. And also, this is a reminder that, guys, you can DNF a book, leave it on your shelf, and not force yourself with something that doesn't interest you, More of a note to self, but yeah, it could apply to you as well. But I also believe in second chances, and some of these books are, you will hate me for DNFing these books. And I also believe some of the books are meant to be boring at first or in the first chapters, but not specifically boring like generally, if you get what I mean. Exactly like the first book that I DNF'd. This is not the first book. This is in random, I guess, that I picked up from my read list in Goodreads. Nga pala, I tag them, or I tag the books that I DNF'd as also read, because some of these books I have already read like half of it or a quarter of it. So it's not fair for my time, my mind, my heart, that I got already affected in some ways or in their own little ways, and not counting them as read. It's just that I did not finish them and I did not like them, or I like them but I want more time, more intimate time with these books. Like, for example, the first book that I have in my list is The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias. This is a thriller supernatural book that I got from one of the recommendations for thriller for dark reads. There was a phase in my 2022 that I was looking for sad, emotional, dark books that I would want to touch my heart and my mind, confuse my brain cells, and that sort of stuff. I picked this up as an audiobook from Libby. This is about a father who is very much desperate and very much anxious about how he would provide for his family, because everything about his life is like falling apart. Marriage, his daughter is so diagnosed with an illness. There's just nothing that he can do to be able to, you know, ano ba yung term na ginagamit nila doon? Meet both ends. So in order to survive, he come up to this job. He was hired as a hitman. So he was involved into a crime, and that's all I know about this book. I'm currently reading Crime and Punishment, which has the same, you know, struggle with the main character who committed a crime because of desperation, poverty, anxiety, and all. Let me know if you have read this, or if you're interested. We can do a buddy read if I have the time, if you're a slow reader, because I am a slow reader. The second book that I dropped is Death and Croissants by Ian Moore. I got an ARC copy of this book. This was released like years ago already, first release. But other publisher will be releasing this or republishing this again this year. So I got an ARC from NetGalley, but I was not able to finish it simply because it's boring. Not my vibe. Like, not even an inch or a centimeter or millimeter of my interest. This is so not my type. I don't exactly know what this is all about. That's how much I would want to DNF this. You know those books that are like trying hard to catch your interest and being this you know, interesting Hallmark kind of cozy read, but it didn't achieve much, at least for me. So yeah, I have nothing to share about this book. I reached like 20% or something, but I didn't really like it, like as in no. Moving on, I have another book that is very much in the trend right now in the past months. To be honest, if you're in social media, I bet you already have seen this book, or you already have read this book, and you've rated it so high that you will hate me for DNFing this. But I got this in an audiobook as well, and the audiobook was, well, funny enough, the audiobook was performed or was narrated by the author. It's embarrassing to have this comment, but I don't know. It's like you're listening to Siri reading a PDF from your phone. I don't feel the emotions that the author would like me to feel about the story, so I just dropped it. But I got the ebook copy of the same because it's just so famous right now. So yeah, I spent some money for this one. And that book is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I'm so sorry, guys, but I don't know, maybe it's just the audiobook. And this is non-fiction. This is a memoir of the author herself about her toxic relationship with her mother. It talks about abuse, harassment, self-harm, eating disorder, and a lot of things that are relatable. The first time I heard about this book, I already knew this is the toxic motherhood story, which I am very much interested about because I'm a mother and I don't want to be toxic. So I'm a co-mom, and hopefully it stays that way in the next years. The next book is another, like, I don't know, gory ba ito? But it's also tagged as a horror book, so I picked it up. Relic by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Relic, girl, this is a horror classic already, if I'm not mistaken, or if I may say. But this is like the most boring horror. It's a series under the first book under the series Aloysius Pendergast. I barely started this book because I don't have any memory of me reading this book. I don't have anything in my experience to share about Relic, but the description goes: just days before a massive exhibition opens at the popular New York Museum of Natural History, visitors are being savagely murdered in the museum's dark hallways and secret rooms. Autopsies indicate that the killer cannot be human. But the museum's directors plan to go ahead with a big bash to celebrate the new exhibition in spite of the murders. Girl! Okay, another stupid decision from characters. Museum researcher Margot Green must find out who or what is doing the killing. I'm speechless. Okay. The fifth book that I have on my list is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, which is surprising. I also am surprised of myself for DNFing this one, because this is probably one of the most famous banned books of all time, and I am a sucker for banned books, for disturbing reads. I don't know why I can't remember why I DNF'd this. And this is also adapted to a movie, if I'm not mistaken. Influential nightmare vision of the future criminals take over after dark. Teen gang leader Alex narrates in fantastically inventive slang that echoes the violent intensity of youth rebelling against society. Okay, so I will be rereading this, I guess. Unless you say no, May, just save yourself from the disturbance this book could offer. It's not a long book. It's 240 pages. Anyways, I also did not finish When Night Breaks by Janela Angeles. This is the second book for a duology. Interestingly, Janela Angeles is a Filipino-American author. The first book from this duology is Where Dreams Descend. I liked so much. What's that? I loved Where Dreams Descend, and I was expecting more. It raised the standard of this duology that I was expecting more from the second book, and it didn't give me that vibe, if you get what I mean. This is a story of a performer, magical performer, if I'm not mistaken, and there is a kind of a Phantom of the Opera inspiration behind these books. And I read the first book with a group of wonderful people from a book club, so it also added some interest, curiosity about this book. But the second book did not give whatever I was looking for. It just didn't give whatever, it's not that magical. It felt like it was a long novel that the author was advised to just split it. So the first part, or the first book, was this nice, interesting, catchy, kind of a cliffhanger type of story. But the second book just gave you almost nothing, if I may say. But I can say that with 100% confidence, because I did not finish this book, but it's just not interesting enough for me to continue reading it. Okay, I also have on my list Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is kind of interesting because this is a dark academia book, if I'm not mistaken. Mystery young adult contemporary thriller book set in a famous private school in Vermont, where the brightest or most intelligent people or students are in. And as a Ravenclaw, this is definitely an interesting read. I'm not the smartest Ravenclaw though. Just one of those that made it through the sorting hat. if you get what I mean. So this private school has this, it's a wonderful place full of riddles, twisting pathways, and gardens. A place where learning is a game, and that's very much. Where is this school? I want to enroll to this school, but anyways. I picked this up as an audiobook, so I dropped this. This is also part of a series, Truly Debuts. And yeah, I dropped this because I want to read it myself, like with my own eyes. And it gets interesting because shortly after school opened, a wife and daughter were kidnapped, and the only real clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder, signed with the frightening pseudonym Truly Devious. And it became one of the great unsolved crimes of their history. Ooh, okay. I probably am picking up this one sooner than expected. Very much unlike my feelings about Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. This classic is just so... I just cannot read this further, and I probably won't be picking this up like forever. I've read a couple of books that are closely compared to this book, and fortunately I was able to bear them. They're probably one of my best reads last year, but this one is just so heavy that I don't want to get back to it anymore. You know what, I am deep inside, I am torn between like giving it a shot again, because I liked My Dark Vanessa and Memories of My Melancholy Horse. Anyway, moving on. I have here Battle Magic by Tamora Pierce, which is also part of a series. And I still got my book here, my copy here. It's a hardbound copy, almost done. But I don't think I will be reading this again, because this is like book 3 of the series. Although this is a fantasy read, which is a lot more interesting than Lolita. But I suppose I should give this away. So if you're interested of having a copy of a hardbound copy of Battle Magic, just let me know. Maybe in exchange you could, recommend some fantasy reads or fantasy series, better yet. Fantasy titles that you could share to me and you think that I would like. If you don't know me yet, I am very much interested in fantasy mystery reads, kind of, with a touch of thriller. I don't know, something is interesting. Yeah, so that's Battle Magic. I don't know what to share about this book. What part of mage did you not understand? I understand mage. I know mage. Konte. He reached into the sling on the ground next to him, taking out the seed ball. He flipped. I don't know what this excerpt is giving me, but yeah, if you know Tamara Pierce, or if you're interested with this book, you can just comment your interest and your recommendations in the comment box, and let's see who I can share this with. And of course, the last book on my list is The Iliad by Homer. I tried to do a reading vlog series for Homer, but it's just so... I don't know why I stopped this. I'm still fighting my way through the War and Peace though, and kind of like more deep and more poetic, if I may say, than War and Peace. I just got my copy of the Odyssey, so I think I would catch up. I could, not would, but I could catch up with Homer this year. So those are the books that I did not finish last year. I'm not embarrassed at all. Okay, konti. Because I know I will pick some of this up, probably more than I am expecting right now. But these books are, that's the beauty about these books, no? You can just place it on your shelf. It will wait for you until you're ready, unlike love. Kasi yung iba hindi makapag-antay-best. Anyways, that's it for now, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope this also helped to remind you that you can not finish a book, you know, and just pick it up again if you're in the mood. So thank you for watching. I will see you on my next vlog.
I'll give you ukulele lessons Monday mornings if you're free. We can go to wherever we like, there's so much out there to see.